The date was August 12, 2009. It was hot, even for a Chicago suburb like Elmhurst, Illinois. You could smell summer coming to a close, the air thick with sprinklers, fresh mulch, and distant BBQs. 17-year-old Rachel DeLaurentiis had one last babysitting job before heading into her senior year. She was saving for college, planning to major in early childhood education. Bright, grounded, and gentle, she was the kind of girl who never raised her voice, who volunteered at church and still called her mom when she got somewhere safely. That night, she was scheduled to babysit for the Owens family, Jeff, Karen, and their 2 kids, ages 3 and 5. They lived 3 blocks over on Glenmore Drive, in a brick front 2-story with a garden gnome by the porch. A place that screamed normal. At 6:17 p.m., Rachel texted her mom. At the Owens. All good. Be home by 10 red heart. It was the last message anyone ever received from her. When Rachel didn't return home by midnight, her mother, Denise DeLaurentiis, began calling her cell. Straight to voicemail. By 8 a.m., she was standing at the Elmhurst Police Department, holding a photo of her daughter and whispering the same line over and over. She never just doesn't come home. She never does that. Police visited the Owens household. Jeff and Karen both claimed Rachel never arrived. Said they assumed she'd canceled. Claimed they'd called a neighbor's teenage son last minute to fill in. That part checked out. The Owens alibi, confirmed by multiple neighbors, put them out at a local restaurant that evening from 6:30 to 10 o'clock. Receipts, timestamps, even a waiter backed it up. So, where had Rachel gone? Weeks passed. The months. Flyers faded on utility poles. Search parties shrank. Her name slipped from news cycles. By the time winter came, Rachel had become another cold case. Fast forward to October 2021. Jeff and Karen Owens had long since sold their home and moved to Florida. Enter newlyweds Morgan and Kyle Harris, who bought the Glenmore Drive house after falling in love with its old-school charm and spacious backyard. 3 months in, the couple decided to renovate the laundry room. The crawl space below was shallow, unfinished, and, according to Kyle, reeked like mold and rusting copper. At first, they assumed it was rotting insulation, maybe a dead raccoon. But on January 8, 2022, during demolition, a construction worker struck something buried under a layer of concrete and tarp. At first, it looked like part of an old blanket, until they noticed hair. Then bone. Then a fragmented cell phone case, wedged beside a faded denim purse. Police were called. The entire house was sealed off as a crime scene. By the next morning, forensic teams had uncovered a full human skeleton, wrapped in plastic sheeting and partially mummified due to the insulation. Dental records confirmed the impossible. After 12 years, Rachel DeLaurentiis had been found, buried beneath the home of the very people who claimed she'd never shown up. News broke like wildfire. Local and national outlets lit up with headlines like, "Remains of missing teen discovered in crawl space of former babysitting home." Karen and Jeff Owens were questioned in Florida. Both denied knowing how Rachel's body got there. But detectives, now with physical evidence, dug deeper. They recovered a long-discarded laptop that Jeff Owens had tried to wipe before moving. It was sent to digital forensics. What they found was chilling. A password-protected folder labeled tax_2009. Inside were 14 video files. One of them was timestamped August 12, 2009, 8:21 p.m. It opened with Rachel entering the Owens house. She was holding her book, looking uncomfortable, but smiling politely. Jeff Owens could be heard off camera offering her something to drink. She declined. The next file, shorter, shakier, was from inside the laundry room. Rachel was standing against the wall. Her voice was tense. Then, a sudden movement. And then darkness. The screen froze. The footage ended. What happened after was left to speculation, but prosecutors would later argue it was the moment Rachel was overpowered, killed, and hidden beneath the crawl space Jeff Owens would pour fresh concrete over just days later. Investigators interviewed former neighbors. One of them, Mrs. Adela Rossner, remembered something odd. Jeff Owens rented an industrial wet vac and bags of cement 3 days after that girl vanished. I remember thinking, what's he doing with all that in the middle of summer? Another neighbor claimed Jeff got twitchy anytime Rachel's name came up. The Owens daughter, now in college, gave a statement that sealed the suspicion. When I was 10, I wasn't allowed in the laundry room. Dad put a padlock on it. I asked why, and he said mold. But I always heard weird noises at night, like someone crying or scratching. It wasn't mold. It was guilt and silence and the knowledge that just below their feet, someone was waiting to be found. In September 2022, Jeff Owens was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, unlawful concealment of a body, obstruction of justice, and tampering with evidence. Karen Owens was not charged, but her involvement remained a shadow over the case. The trial began in early 2023. The courtroom was filled with gasps as the video footage was shown, pixelated and grainy, but undeniably real. The most powerful moment came during Denise DeLaurenti's testimony. She clutched Rachel's book, The Lovely Bones, still stained from the crawl space. She never got to finish this. But now, at least we get to finish her story. Jeff Owens was found guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to 45 years in prison, without the possibility of parole for 30. The Harris family has since moved out of the Glenmore Drive home. No one lives there now. The crawl space has been filled and sealed. But the whispers remain. A town that tried to forget, forced to remember. A family shattered, slowly beginning to heal. And a girl who was never really gone, just waiting, quietly, beneath the surface. Some secrets aren't buried in the woods. Some monsters don't lurk in shadows. Sometimes, the truth lives right beneath your feet, waiting for someone to finally look down.